Hello everyone, Ham and Eggs here, and here's another Rolling Line video. It's the basics of Lane Track updated for kind of August-ish of 2018. The game has developed quite quickly, so a lot of changes have occurred in it, including the way some track works together. So I have everything just laid out here in advance. If you go to the tables, or not tables, the trays, you can see page 4 and 5 have all the pieces of track. So these four, as I mentioned in the previous rendition of this video, all are the same sort of segment distances by degrees, and so they all fit nicely in when you have them side by side using this configuration. So it's 4 segments for 90 degrees, 2 for 45. Then there's also these super tight turns which were added, which are probably going to be better for tram lines and the like. And they work along the same general idea. I don't know if you would just expand this outwards, if they would work on the same scale of sorts. And then these two, or no, the tighter one and the one over there next to the switches go side by side fairly well, but I think only one goes truly 90 degrees, which I believe would be this one. And you can see the differences in how many track segments are needed to make them. So I don't think they have a uniform distance for the for the turns, and this segment is even less sharply turned, so it makes this huge gentle one that I had to kind of expand the table with a block out here. So that's how the turns are relative to each other. You can count off the number of segments if you need. And so as before, these do make a perfectly parallel uniform set that a lot of tracks can be done off of. You can't really do the same with these shorter ones, which are right over here. And you can also use the coloring options right here, actually any of the coloring options really, to change the ballast of the track. So I have all the scales along here. The second darkest, so this one, is the same color as the default ballast. Back to how things fit together though. The short turn goes with the smallest turn here, and this one goes with this switch as shown here, which is the same length as the main straightaway length. The length of the short switch is 2 of these, as you can see right there. Now moving on towards this side of the table, you can see with this brush option, you can put tunnels over the various pieces of track, and you can place an entrance, as indicated right here. And moving on to this piece, this is the closest thing we have to flex track. It's more of a gap fill. So what I did was I had put a straightaway right here and a straightaway right here, and let me see what position would be good. I didn't really prepare that part too well in advance, but you can see it'll try to approximate a turn as best it can, which is exactly what happened here. So if you want to make fairly organic, or you're just having slightly offset lines, you can connect them up that way. As before, These brush options change the durability of the track, so you can have a brand new looking one, a rundown one, and one just running in say, a street. These also work on the bridges, although with the wooden bridge, the tires are actually underneath the rails, so it's not visible even though it does take effect. You also have these, which I haven't actually used too much, which is just 3 different colors for the ties. So you can have black ties, some kind of light concrete ties, and you can have the wind ties. I just use the wind ties. Coming over here, if we go a few tabs in, you can see I have this pile of objects. All these shapes you can scale up and scale down, such as this. You can just use the scroll wheel, and you can also make hover into the air. And using the number pad when you're placing, you can also change how bent they are. So I have just all the shapes at their default sizes right here. You can see everything pretty much fits the cube in some manner. Except these don't really seem to follow those rules to the same degree. This one does. But so these are useful for making kind of custom buildings and the like. You have a sphere, 2 circular pillars, and a rectangular pillar. So you have these various ramps. And here's a fairly new feature. There's a tab back over on page 8. It's this tool. This will make things translucent. You can see through them. You can use this one to make it solid again. Very useful for windows, although people have also tried using it for oceans. And you can do the same with some other props. Pretty much anything colorable you can do it with, except for track ballast, I've discovered. You can even apply it to the tables for some reason. So you can have translucent grass. Then there's also these tunnel entrances, which I forgot to place this set. But so you have these tunnel segments that you can place manually. This is a double wide, so if you wanted to have 2 tracks like this, you can do that just manually instead of having 2 single track wide tunnels next to each other, which you can still do manually with this. And those are just these pieces right here. And you can do the same with a more natural looking tunnel with the grass pieces here. And again, all these pieces can be recolored with the paint tools. So there's the basics of lane, track, and other general object creation in Rolling Line at this time. So I hope that's helpful. I know some people are kind of confused with newer systems in the game, so hopefully that can make things significantly easier. I've been Ham and Eggs. Thanks for watching.